My name is Knox. I am your survival instructor. In the last episode, you learned the foundation of survival. You learned that most people die not because there is no food, not because there is no water, but because they behave as if the system will fix itself. You learned to stop waiting, to stop assuming help is coming, to think like an individual responsible for your own survival. Today, we turn that mindset into structure. You will learn how to build your first base after the collapse, how to secure water, how to find and protect food, how to choose and harden shelter, how to create ongoing food sources, how to defend yourself and your group without turning your life into a permanent battlefield. You are not building a dream home. You are building a foothold that keeps you alive long enough to think, plan, and adapt. Most people think of a base as a place, a building, a house, a bunker. That is wrong. A base is not just a location, it is a system. A system that does three things. It keeps you alive. It reduces how often you must expose yourself to danger. And it buys you time to make better decisions. Your base is where you sleep. You store resources. You process information. You recover from stress. Every decision about your base must serve those functions. Anything that makes you feel comfortable but makes you easier to find, easier to surprise, or harder to escape does not belong. Your base is not about comfort. It is about control. Control over your exposure, control over your routines, control over your reactions when others are losing theirs. Now we start with the most important part of that system, water. When the system collapses, clean water stops being a background option and becomes your first dependency. You can live without food for days or weeks. You cannot live without water for long. Dehydration does more than dry your throat. It fogs your thinking. It weakens your muscles. It makes you emotional and careless. Carelessness in a collapse gets you killed. So you must answer three questions around your base. Where can I get water now? How can I make it safer to drink? How can I store it without becoming a target? In an urban or suburban area, early sources include leftover tap pressure in buildings, water heaters and boiler tanks, roof tanks and cisterns, bottled water in small forgotten spaces, offices, gyms, workshops, staff kitchens, maintenance rooms. Everyone thinks of big supermarkets and gas stations. That is why you avoid them. Your advantage is in places people don't think about first. Small doctor offices, dental clinics, company break rooms, back rooms of restaurants, storage areas in schools or community centers. Anywhere humans worked and waited, they left water. Your rule is simple. High traffic means high risk. Low traffic means possibility. You move for water only when you have a clear plan. Where you're going, how you'll get in and out, what you'll carry it in, how it changes your exposure. If you cannot answer these, you are not collecting water. You are gambling. Finding water is not enough. Pipes can be contaminated. Tanks may be dirty. Surfaces may be infected. Clear water is not the same as clean water. You are not aiming for perfection. You are aiming for less risk. You do this in layers. First, remove visible debris. Pour water through cloth, a shirt, a coffee filter, or just let it sit and pour from the clearer top layer. Second, treat it. If you can boil it safely without drawing attention with smoke or light, you do. If you have purification tools, you use them with discipline. If you have nothing, you stack small advantages. Settling, filtering, choosing less suspicious sources over obviously dirty ones. You will never have perfect water in a collapse. You will have better water and worse water. Your job is to keep choosing better consistently. You also learn to read your own body. Dry mouth, dark urine, headaches, dizziness. These are warning signs. By the time you're desperate to drink anything, your decision-making is already damaged. Do not wait until then. Drink enough to think clearly and move efficiently. A sharp mind saves more water than any filter. The last question is storage. Water that is somewhere out there is not security. Water that is inside your base system is. You use what you have: bottles, jugs, pots, cleaned food containers, anything that can be sealed. You do not store all your water in one obvious place. If someone finds one container, you do not want them to find everything. You also think about weight and mobility. 10 heavy containers you can't move may trap you in a bad position. A mix of stored water at your base and at least one smaller ready-to-move supply gives you options. You do not hoard so much that you become slow. You secure enough that you are not forced outside every day. That is the balance. Now we move to food. Hunger feels dramatic. An empty stomach makes people panic. That's why many survivors make bad decisions about food in the first few days and weeks. You must think differently. Short-term, food is not your biggest killer. Bad choices while hunting for food are. You focus on 3 things: inventory, priority, and exposure. Before you go outside hunting for anything, you must know what you already have. People underestimate their own supplies because they never took them seriously. You check your kitchen, your bags, your workplace, any vehicles you control, drawers, boxes, closets. You list canned goods, dried foods, high-calorie snacks, anything with long shelf life. This is your baseline. You do not guess, you count. You divide mentally. What can I eat now? What must I protect for later? You also look for indirect food: sugar, oil, salt, spices. These don't just keep you alive, they keep you sane. A survival diet that destroys morale is not sustainable. After you know what you have, you decide what is worth leaving your base for. You do not sprint to the nearest big store just because that's what everyone does. High visibility targets create crowds, arguments, lines, ambush points. You look for quieter opportunities: small neighborhood stores, kiosks, office vending machines, back rooms in commercial areas. You also think in windows of time. The first few hours of collapse might still be calm enough for controlled movement. By day 2 or 3, obvious locations become conflict zones. You weigh each trip. How much energy will I spend? How much time will I be exposed? What is the worst thing that could happen on this route or at this location? If the risk is higher than the calorie gain, you do not go. Hunger is better than injury. Hunger is better than a bullet. People make 2 big mistakes with food early. They binge, or they ration so hard they damage themselves. Eating everything in the first days is stupidity. Starving yourself to save everything while your brain and body degrade is also stupidity. You need a functional middle ground. You ask, how can I eat enough to stay sharp and mobile without pretending food will last forever. You distribute your meals. You avoid emotional eating. You accept mild hunger as part of your new life. But you do not glorify suffering. A starving survivor is slower, weaker, and more likely to panic. You are not trying to prove toughness. You are trying to extend your capacity. And you never forget, food is not just calories. Food is a signal. Cooking smells, the sound of cans opening, the sight of full bags going into your shelter. All of these say there is something worth taking here. You keep your food hidden. You control how you cook. If possible, cook at times and in ways that minimize smell and smoke. Use lids. Avoid large